beautiful people, welcome back to my channel for another awesome video. If you're new, then a very special welcome to you. Today I will be making waist beads. This is a little bit different because for one, it is made with wire. Secondly, it will be made with a clasp, and thirdly, I will be personalize it with letter beads. Okay, so all these beads that I used, I got from the dollar store as usual, you know. Gotta get my dollar store beads, but it turned out awesome though, so just stick around and let's get started. The first thing I did was to gather my beads and lay out my bead tray. Then I measured my waist to make sure that I have enough wire so that my waist bead would be long enough to fit my waist. I got 3 strands of wire because I'm making a 3-strand waist bead. Just so you know, this is the same wire that I got in my jewelry kit that I used to make my necklace. The link will be in the description below. After I finished with my wire, then I used my bead tray to lay out my beads in the order that I want them to appear on my waist bead. And just so you know, this bead tray comes in very handy because it has measurements on it and you can get to space your beads accurately. The first sets of beads I laid out was my letter beads so that I could get them in the front of my waist bead so that when you put it on, that will be the first thing showing. Then I put the larger beads on it. I placed them approximately 2 inches apart so that I have enough space to put my smaller filler beads in between. The good thing about making a waist bead is that you can personalize it, you know. You can use expensive beads if that's what you like, but I'm just using Dollar Tree beads because it's more affordable, you know, to make this video and stuff. But use whatever beads you like, whatever colors you like, because it's just something that is supposed to reflect you personally. Some important facts that you should know about waist beads are that modern women use them to indicate weight loss or gain, you know, in case you don't want to step on the scale and be embarrassed like I do sometimes. You know that when your waist bead is loose, you're losing weight, and when it's tight, that means you're gaining a little weight. But this waist bead stems from Africa, as most things do. So in Africa, back in those days, women usually wear them to indicate a whole host of other stuff, like indication of fertility, you know, how many beads she wore depend on what she was trying to portray to her partner or a suitor. Well, you should know that this waist bead that I'm making is not a traditional waist bead. I'm just like doing it to my taste and my personality. I'm just using colors that I like, things that I think go together, and my beads that I think will stand out. I'm not gonna lie, these Dollar Tree glass beads are really nice, and for the price, $1, you get a lot of beads. Like after I finished this, I had so many beads left, I could make a few of these and it wouldn't even cost me anything more because I already have my supplies, you know. So you should really consider using the Dollar Tree beads you know, just so you can have like a big supply of waist beads, or you can even use them to make like matching necklaces, earrings, you know, whatever you want. I know I've been rambling on for a while, but you know, I really like the process of organizing my beads and laying them out in the order that I like. Like, this is the longest part of actually making this. It's the most time consuming part because you have to get your beads just right, because this part that I'm doing, where you see sunshine, craft, and DIYs, I'm trying to make sure that my 3 strands each have those words on it in the way that you see it. So when I lay out my 3 strands, you're gonna see it in that way. It is also important to note that when you're laying out your beads, make sure between those big beads you put a small round bead before you put the long bead, because that long bead will try to slip inside the hole of the big bead, if you understand what I'm saying. Because even though I laid it out initially like this, I had to switch it up a bit and put between the big bead and the long bead, I had to put another small bead there, because it tried to do that with me, and that kind of messed up the flow when I tried to string the beads on. So that's an important tip that you should know and you should do before putting on your beads, because then you're gonna have to restring it. You don't want that. These little storage spaces in your bead tray is so handy, because you know, you can store the beads that you're going to use to put onto your necklace right there, so it's more convenient for you to reach them. Even though these little storage containers that I got from Dollar Tree are awesome, you know, it's so much easier when you have the bead tray. Okay, so now that we've laid out our beads and have it all organized, it's time to start stringing the beads onto our wire. So what I did, I start from one end, whichever end you choose, it doesn't really matter. I just start from one end, putting on the beads onto my wire until I work my way all around the board. But I did one layer at a time, so by the time I'm finished with all the beads on my board, I'll put all 3 of those rows on all 3 of my strands. But that's not the only thing that's gonna be on my strand, because this is just the front part. So in the next part I'll show you what I did with the end parts. Okay. A trick that I used when I was stringing my bead is that I held both ends of the wires in my hand, as you can see, so that when I string my beads, it doesn't fall off. Another thing that I did that you can see in the other parts of the video is that I used a masking tape to put on my platform to keep it stable so the beads don't fall off. Here you see where I finished the first row that I put on, and my letter beads are centered onto my wire, and I added the extra beads, like the small beads and stuff that I needed to put on the other end. So I left about 2 inches of wire at the end, and I'm about to show you how I close it off. First, I put my calotte on, and then I put a crimp bead on after that, and use my pliers to clamp the crimp bead to keep the wire in place at the end where I want it to stop. Then I just close that up. Well, I cut the wire off, the excess wire off, and then I close the calotte. I also did that for the other end of my waist bead, that way I'll be able to put my clasp on. there you have it. Both clothes are on my waist bead, and right there I have one strand all finished. I'm not going to show you the process of doing all three because it's basically a repetition of what I did in the first part. So here, after I finish all three strands of putting the ends on it and stuff, I lay them out, and then I'm gonna put my clasp on after I lay them out the way that I want them to be on my waist. After I get it laid out the way I want to, what I'm going to do next is to use my pliers and put my jump ring on. So I put one jump ring, like a medium jump ring, and then I put all three strands onto the one jump ring. I'm also going to put my lobster clasp onto that jump ring so that I could have one end of my waist bead done. So that's where you see the combination of all three strands on the one clasp. I'm also about to do the same on the other end where I put all three strands onto the one jump ring, and I also put a closed jump ring onto that end. And you see where I have an extender chain. That's optional. If you want to use an extender chain, that's up to you. I kind of like using it because that gives me a little extra to work with. So yeah, you can use it or you cannot use it. It's up to you. It also comes in the jeweler kit, so if you get the kit, then you'll have it at your disposal, so there is no need to buy anything extra. So yeah, you will be able to use it at that point if you get the kit. The great thing about the letter beads is that you get a lot of letters in that bead set that you get from the Dollar Tree, so you can personalize it. You see, I have Sunshine Crafts and DIY on mine, but you can put whatever you want on it, be your name, your partner's name, whatever you want. So that's awesome right there. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I love y'all. Until next time, stay blessed. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and join us again for more inspiration, creativity, and relaxation.